Is Elon Musk a genius, a tyrant, or something in between? This book reveals how obsession, pain, and vision collide to change the world. Walter Isaacson's Elon Musk is a deeply reported biography based on more than 2 years of close access to Musk, his family, and his companies. Rather than glorifying success, Isaacson presents a complex portrait of a man driven by intensity, trauma, and an uncompromising belief in first principles. Musk's childhood in South Africa, marked by bullying and an emotionally harsh father, shaped his extreme personality. Isaacson argues that these early experiences forged Musk's defining traits: emotional detachment, relentless focus, and an almost dangerous optimism. Living in hardcore mode, Musk operates permanently in crisis mode: 100-hour work weeks, unrealistic deadlines, brutally direct communication, total intolerance for mediocrity. This approach causes burnout and conflict, but it also enables breakthroughs at Tesla and SpaceX that few thought possible. First principles. Thinking Musk's most powerful tool is first principles reasoning. Instead of accepting industry norms, he breaks problems down to fundamental truths and rebuilds solutions from scratch. This mindset leads to innovations like reusable rockets, vertically integrated manufacturing, and radical cost reductions. The human cost of innovation. The book does not hide the damage Musk leaves behind: failed relationships, strained family bonds, high employee turnover. Isaacson suggests that Musk suppresses empathy to accelerate problem-solving, an effective but costly trade-off. Twitter X. Chaos as a feature. Musk's acquisition of Twitter becomes a real-time experiment in power, free speech, and control. Sudden decisions, mass layoffs, and ideological battles expose both his belief in radical transparency and his tendency toward impulsive leadership. Saving humanity or breaking himself. Musk's ambitions go far beyond profit: making humanity multiplanetary, accelerating sustainable energy, managing existential AI risk. Yet the book raises a critical question: do world-changing breakthroughs require such extreme personalities, or is the price simply too high? Isaacson leaves readers with an uncomfortable truth: Musk's brilliance and destructiveness are inseparable. Next, we'll examine what Musk's leadership style teaches us about innovation, resilience, and the true cost of moving humanity forward.
You hear the name Elon Musk, and what do you think of? Reusable rockets, right? The whole EV revolution, this grand plan to get us to Mars. But Walter Isaacson's new biography digs into a much, much deeper question. Are the very demons that drive Elon Musk the same things that fuel progress itself? Let's get into it. So, get this. In early 2022, Musk himself kind of admits how intense things are. He says he needs to get out of crisis mode. Sounds like he's ready for a break, Maybe find a little peace. Yeah. But, as Isaacson points out, that moment of calm, it didn't last long. I mean, at the exact same time he's talking about chilling out, he's secretly launching one of his biggest, messiest, most public fights ever. And that contrast, right there, that's the whole story.
And that right there, that's the core of what we're digging into today, the innovator's paradox. How can the same person be this world-changing genius and also, as the book describes him, a tough yet vulnerable man-child? And the real question is, can you separate the flaws from the success?
I mean, on one hand, you have the guy who completely upended the space and car industries. Just incredible stuff. But on the other hand, you've got this Jekyll and Hyde personality, this appetite for drama and an intensity that can be, frankly, pretty destructive. So you gotta ask, where does this demon mode, as they call it, even come from? Well, Isaacson traces it all the way back to his childhood, one that was marked by some really serious psychological and physical trauma. This is the fire that forged him. The emotional stuff, it runs deep. According to the biography, the verbal abuse from his father was just relentless. Just think about that for a second. Being told you're an idiot over and over by your own dad, that kind of thing leaves a mark, It fundamentally shapes how you see the world. And it wasn't just at home either. School, the playground, that was a whole other kind of battlefield. He was a lonely kid, got beat up a lot. And Isaacson makes this really interesting point. This experience gave him this lifelong drive to own the playground. And you'll see why that is so important when we talk about Twitter later on. This quote from his first wife, Justine, I think it just nails it. To survive everything, he basically had to build this fortress around his emotions. He shuts down the fear, sure, but when you do that, you can't just pick and choose. You shut down the good stuff too. Joy, empathy. And that hardness, it became his armor, but also his weapon. Okay, so you have this incredibly intense, hardened psychology. How does that actually turn into building rockets and electric cars? Well, it all boils down to a very specific way of thinking that he applies to everything. And this is the absolute key to understanding how he operates. See, most people, most companies, they do things a certain way because, well, that's how it's always been done. That's reasoning by analogy. Musk throws all that out. He starts from zero. He asks, what are the fundamental physical truths here? What are the raw materials? And then he builds up from there.
He actually has a name for this, which is just classic Musk, the idiot index. Basically, he looks at how much the raw materials cost versus how much the final thing costs. If there's a huge gap, bingo. He knows the industry is bloated, inefficient, and just begging to be disrupted. And SpaceX is the perfect example of this in action. He looked at a rocket and asked, okay, what's it actually made of? You know, aluminum, copper, the basics. The cost of those materials was a tiny fraction of the final price tag. The idiot index was through the roof, like 50 to 1. He saw that the cost wasn't the stuff itself, it was the ridiculous, inefficient way the old guard was putting it together. So he just did it smarter. Game changer. Okay, so his engineering is all about this pure fundamental logic. But the man himself, he is a walking bundle of contradictions. And some of them are pretty wild. Let's get into a few. All right, check this one out. In 2020, he famously declares he's selling all his physical stuff, gonna own no house because possessions kinda weigh you down. A true minimalist, right? Well, at the exact same time, he's on his way to becoming the wealthiest person in the history of the world. So, yeah, there's that. Or how about this one, his environmental mission? Tesla is the reason the entire car industry is going electric. No question. That's his vision. But the reality, especially in the early days, the book breaks down this insane global supply chain. You've got battery parts going from Japan to Thailand to England all the way to the US. A massive, carbon-intensive journey to build a green car. It's a huge paradox, right at the heart of his biggest company. And this gets to his personality. He has this raw, almost allergic reaction to what he sees as pointless bureaucracy. Get rid of them. People aren't stupid. These stickers are stupid. That's him talking about those government-required airbag warning labels. For him, it's not just inefficient, it's existentially soul-sucking. He fundamentally hates being told what to do. And that don't tell me what to do attitude has really grown into a full-blown political ideology. He links what he calls the woke mind virus directly to his biggest goal, making us a multiplanetary species. It's not just a political disagreement for him. He sees it as a legitimate threat to human progress. So, where does all this lead? It all comes crashing together in the absolute ultimate case study, his takeover of Twitter. This is the moment where everything, the childhood trauma, the insane wealth, the politics, and that old urge to own the playground, it all converges in one giant public spectacle. I mean, the way the whole deal went down, it's like a speed run of his entire personality. First, he's secretly buying up stock. Then, bam, this dramatic out-of-nowhere offer. Then he tries to back out, there's chaos and legal threats. And finally, he's forced to buy it. It was a complete roller coaster, and he was the only one driving. And if you want to see just how ruthless he can be, look no further than this. When Twitter's execs wanted some legal protection, this was his response about them. We will hunt every single one of them till the day they die. I mean, wow. That's demon mode in full effect. It's not about negotiation, it's total war. And the second he got the keys, the change was instant and just brutal. He took a company known for its focus on psychological safety and just torched it. He demanded everyone be hardcore, fired most of the company, and literally put beds in the office. It was a culture shock of epic proportions. Which brings us right back to where we started, with that huge central question from Isaacson's book. After looking at all of this, the trauma, the genius, the contradictions, the chaos, you have to wonder, can you have one without the other?
Is it possible to get the visionary who's pushing humanity to Mars without the volatile man-child who thrives on chaos? Or are his demons just the price we pay for that kind of progress?